You're back. I'm Mandy. This is BuzzChomp, home of fitness and entertainment. We're talking It Chapter 2 review. The good, the bad, the ugly. I'm Mandy.
I'm Dan.
Subscribe to
BuzzChomp. Woo!
I will tell you that the original It is one of those movies that I really can't watch. I should actually rewatch it. I thought when I was little it was just so scary that I just couldn't bring myself to watch it. But I decided when the remake came out that I was going to watch it, and I loved it. I was pleasantly surprised. Absolutely loved it. So I was excited to see the sequel. And while I enjoyed it, we're going to break down the good, the bad, the ugly. The good, guys. The casting. I'm sorry, the casting was freaking flawless. All the actors nailed it. Nailed it. They embodied those children like I could see that they were the adult versions. I love that. It's nothing worse than when you have like a child, an adult version where you're like, they don't really look anything like each other. Could they be each other? I just felt like they nailed like the mannerisms. They nailed how they acted. I was like, oh, that was perfect. Perfect. There were some really grossed out, scary moments in this. Another good. I wouldn't say that I was like petrified my whole time. I wasn't actually petrified the whole time of the first one, but I felt like I was more scared in the first one. I don't know if it's because they were children. I don't know if it's because they sold that a little bit better. The first one I thought was much scarier. I also thought the story was like a little bit more cohesive, a little bit more like fleshed out and turned together. Which this one, I just thought there was like a lot of exposition, and I just didn't think the story was like as out. The bad. I liked the story. I know they're like loosely keeping to the original, and like I said, I haven't seen the original in so long that I know they come back to the town and it's similar and blah 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 and all that, and I know they changed some things, like the black guy is a much major part of the remake than he was in the original. He gets injured and like all of that. It was a lot of exposition, and that's where I go bad. Like I saw it with Dan, and there were moments he was like laughing, and I was like, okay. I think he was like being a little like dramatic with his laughter. I mean, there were moments that were funny that were definitely like supposed to be funny. I could tell they wanted to bring in the children still, like, which I liked that they did it. But some of those storylines, you were like, oh, okay. You kind of got it. Like, it kind of made sense. But then a little bit of was a little like, I felt like it was a little piecemeal, like a little like, oh, yeah, I guess so. Okay. All right, that works, kind of. Friggin' the bad that it was almost 3 hours long. We didn't need an almost 3 hour It. I don't understand people. I make movies. I love movies. I'm an actress. I don't think we need a 3 hour movie. These movies are not Schindler's List, people. Why do we need a 3 hour movie? I think that we lose something in that. You could have cut 30 minutes at least out of this movie. Also, I'm going to give one more bad, the cheese. The first one was super cheesy and it owned its cheese, but it really worked. This one kept trying to throw in cheese. I'll give you an example. When Bill gets his bike and he buys it back. The cheeses that worked, that was friggin' Stephen King, and they kept throwing in that they didn't like the ending of his books. I guess Stephen King has gotten a lot of complaints for his endings and all that, like the original It. Yeah. So I liked that. And then he buys his bike back for $300, which is crazy. Then he's riding his bike and he's feeling his movements, and he finally gets on his bike and he's riding it and he's like, woo, and he's like yelling. I don't know. They had a good cheese moment with Stephen King, and then they had a not so good cheese moment where I laughed as he's riding the bike. And I was just like, no, like that cheese, it didn't work for me. There were just a lot of moments like that where they forced cheese on you, forced it, and it just didn't feel. The ugly. The ending. Okay, so I guess this was a big issue with the original It 2 in the ending, and spoiler, Pennywise turns into a big giant spider. I guess in the original one, he was a big giant spider from outer space. They all band together and they like they almost shout insults. Pennywise is bullying them the whole time, and they turn her around and they believe together and they bully Pennywise into submission. I don't know, guys. Oh, that's all they had to do the whole time? Couldn't they have done that before? We waited all that time for that. That was the ugly of it. That was the ugly. I feel like it could have been so much more dynamic. Could have been so much more on the edge of your seat. Like, we knew they were going to defeat them, but couldn't it have been a little bit stronger of an ending? I think so. Especially, like I said, with the cheese, after the whole movie, they're talking about how this writer doesn't do good endings, and they're kind of giving an homage to Stephen King in the first It, and boom, they did a bad ending. Even though there's the good, the bad, and the ugly, I still enjoyed it because I love horror movies. I love being scared, and there were moments I was scared. So I'm glad I saw it in the movie theater. Do I think you need to see it in the movie theater? No. Do I think you're missing out this Halloween season? No. Watch the original, guys. Watch the original and watch the first one. I'm Mandy. Subscribe to BuzzChomp for more of our fitness and entertainment, and share with me what you all think of it too. Yeah, kids? Yeah. Thanks for watching BuzzChomp.
Subscribe and share.
Subscribe and share.
Subscribe and share.